The Jaffna Peninsula is surrounded by tidal sand flats, so the local fishermen have come up with an ingenious method of catching a daily seafood. But they still need a little bit of luck and help from above. As we head out of the harbour, there's this shrine here to St Anthony, who's there to protect the fishermen. It looks amazing. The sun's coming up, we're being protected, and we're going fishing. What more can you ask for? Giant V for a net. The fish swim in, get stuck in this little maze here, and then on either side is this long tube. What I have to do is go there and see what's in the tube. Apparently there's prawns, crabs, and all kinds of stuff. Perfect for a dish I'm going to do later. Basically, it's a self-contained net, so once everything swims in there, he's tying both ends. There's a lot of things flapping around in there. Heaps of prawns. That's a good catch. It's a beautiful little tiger prawn. I was expecting a few more crabs. There's a few blue swimmer crabs in there. You got to watch blue swimmers because they hurt. That's a little one. If you hold him any other way, he's going to bite you. See, he can't get me now because I'm holding him by the back flippers, and that's the way to hold him. If you don't hold him, if you try and hold him like that, he'll turn around and smash you. And those little pincers, I reckon, are nearly worse than a mud crab. Not as strong, but hurt. I don't know whether they'll keep them, so I better not throw it away, but, you know, I would be keeping this one. Small, no good?
Oh, wait,
yeah. Well, I've had a wonderful morning fishing. I've brought back all that great seafood that I caught, and I'm going to cook a dish which is all about Jaffna. It's called Jaffna Cool, and it's basically Jaffna's version of bouillabaisse. Start off with lots of boiling water and add some rice, samba rice, and also some jackfruit. It's this great big fruit, grows on the trunk of a tree rather than off the branches, probably because it's so heavy. This is actually quite a small one. I'm going to use the seeds as well as the flesh. The flesh is held together with a really sticky gum, but I've pulled it all out already. So what I'll do is add the jack seeds in now. The things that take the longest to cook go in first. And one real unique ingredient that I'm using that's unique to this area, palmyra. It's a palm, and I'm using the tender roots. They've been dried and ground up to make a flour. But to get the best out of it, you have to soak it first. So I've soaked it for about an hour, and it's become a paste, and that's going to be my thickening agent, and it also adds a really nice flavour to it as well. So all I have to do on the next step is prepare all my seafood, starting off with these beautiful blue swimmer crabs. I'm going to use 2 of them. My next piece of seafood, these beautiful prawns. Just pop the head off, just quickly peel them, grab it underneath the legs and just turn the skin around, and it comes off very, very simply. Now this is an amazing thing. A whiting. Who would have thought all the way here in Jaffna I would have found a whiting? Now this guy is super fresh. I'm going to leave the skin on, but I'll have to remove all the fine bones. and then I'm going to cut it into probably 4 or 5 pieces, each fillet. That way there'll be nice big chunks of fish going through that as well. And then, more surprises. A wonderful cuttlefish. They still have the colour on them. They're so fresh and beautiful. To take the skin off is simple. You just put your finger underneath the wing and the whole lot of skin should come off. Again, nice big chunks. Try and keep everything the same size. I'm just going to check my rice and jack seeds. And the jack seeds are starting to float, meaning that they're ready as well. So then the next part is the flesh of the jackfruit, which goes in there as well. The first one I'm going to add is the crab, because it's the largest. It takes a little bit of time to cook, and it'll also cool down the water. I found this lady who had these clams, and they were cleaned. 100 rupees. And she's even cooked them all, so just poached them and then cleaned them. There's no sand in them at all, and they have a great sweetness. So this is my addition to cool. I can't see why you wouldn't use them. One of the most important things to add to this dish is tamarind, which will sour everything. So a little bit of water, make sure there's no seeds in there. It's a thick paste. It's coming up to the boil. So now I'm going to layer my fish in there. A few more minutes like that. And then we add the next one. Alrighty, fish has gone white. Now I can add my squid, which takes no time at all to cook. And also the prawns, which probably take about the same time to cook together. And now very, very gently agitate this so that everything gets mixed up. Time to season, a little bit of salt, a little bit of pepper, my snake beans, which are going to add colour, and my chilli paste. Needs about 3 minutes for all of this now to boil up together. Everything's nearly perfectly cooked, and I'm just going to remove them all very gently so that I can finish the sauce. So now I wait for this to come back to the boil. Tamarind goes in, and now my palmyra flour. As soon as the heat has hit it, it's thickened up and gone glossy. So it's very much like corn flour. It's come to the boil. Final touches. These clams. One last thing. A drumstick leaf, which is sour. The drumstick itself is called murunga. My cool is pretty much done. I'm paying homage to this wonderful place, the fishermen, the seafood, and a dish that is so Jaffna. Jaffna cool with crusty bread. The central markets of Jaffna are the usual collection of hustle and bustle that you find all over Sri Lanka. But I'm here to talk about the plant they call the symbol of Jaffna, the palmyra palm. Palmyra, the most versatile thing I've seen in a long time. I'm making string hoppers later, so these things here, string hopper molds, large and small. This is woven palmyra to put your hot pots on. This is a string hopper press, which is an ingenious little thing carved out of a single piece of wood with a little copper plate on the bottom, different shapes if you like. Push it down. So here is the palmyra palm. It's a drought-resistant palm that has hundreds of uses, from construction to food and grog, and of course the cooking implements that I just bought at the markets. Today I'm going to cook one of Sri Lanka's favourite breakfasts. It's called string hoppers, which is basically rice noodles. I'm serving it with coconut sambal and something called kiri hodi, which is milk gravy. First one I'm going to do is red rice flour string hoppers. Now to that, I have to add some salt and then hot water. What you're after is something like Play-Doh. Massage it all together, and it's becoming a really nice, pliable ball. Now, it also passes the ball test, where it's picking up everything off my fingers, sticking to the dough. It's not too dry. Now comes the fun part, using two very unique kitchen utensils, which would be great to have at home as well. This is my implement, and it's basically a tube, like a piping bag that you can just push the mixture through onto my string hopper mats, which I'm going to steam the string hoppers on. So you just lay them out. These were new, so I've just rinsed them off. And there's one other thing that I like to do, because I don't really want to be caught out with string hoppers sticking on anything, so I just put a little bit of oil on them, just for the first ones. So making a nice sized ball, just shove it into the mould. So then you just put them together, join your fingers, and listen for the noise. Give them a nice, good coating. You don't want them too thick, and just a round and round motion. There we go, into my steamer. Takes about 4 minutes. While that's happening, I'm going to make kirihodi, or milk gravy, and you start with some red onions. You can chop them really finely if you want to, but I prefer just really thin slices. I like a lot of onion in this. Next is a little bit of mouldy fish. Now, if you're a vegetarian, you don't need to put this in. I believe it adds a wonderful flavour, so I like it. Some turmeric for colour, some salt, green chilies, some garlic, fenugreek seeds, and they've been roasted. When you roast them, the flavour's a lot nicer. Just a few. And a stick of cinnamon. And then turn on the fire and add some coconut cream. And finally, some curry leaves. I want it to come to the boil and then turn it down to simmer it so everything gets cooked nicely and becomes nice and pulpy and all the flavours are combined. Next one, the coconut sambal. So, crushing up my onions first. After the onions, I'm adding black peppercorns. Next, mouldy fish. And some salt. And I really want to make a nice paste here. Now I've got a combination here of chili flakes and chili powder. The chili powder will add colour, the flakes add nice flavour. So I like this hot. This sambal has to have a nice red colour. Last thing I'm adding to this is some lime, making sure no seeds go into it. This will now go into my coconut and stir around. When it gets to this stage, you have to use your hands. You know, you can feel the oils and the milk coming out of it. They're nicely steamed. And remember, take them away from the boiling water because putting your hand into a pot full of steam is very dangerous. And then each one of them should just peel off the mat. And I'm very glad I put oil on the mat. Nice, pliable, bouncy, not at all brittle. String hoppers are done. Kirihodi's looking beautiful. It's come up to the boil. I've simmered it. Everything's cooked and nice and pulpy, and now I need to add life to it. A little bit of salt. You'll be so surprised how much life this lime juice puts into it. But there's one other thing that the squeeze of lime does, and that is it helps to congeal and thicken it, so you have a really beautiful thick sauce to go with it. Tiffin box. This is how I used to take my lunch to school. So, in the bottom, the gravy, and it's gone nice and thick. And then string hoppers, half and half, jam them in as many as I can. And then on top, nice big dollop of sambal. And I'm off. And here's my breakfast, full of memories. String hoppers, both red and white, kirihodi, and pol sambal. Just off the northwest tip of Sri Lanka are a number of remote islands. During the Civil War, these islands were virtually impossible to get to. Delft Island is over there, that's where I'm heading. You know, no film crew's been here for 30 years, so I feel very privileged. It's about an hour-and-a-half ferry ride out to Delft Island. I can tell you we had to pull a few favours to get permission, but I can't wait to see this place, especially because it's been virtually untouched for so long. Delft Island is halfway between India and Sri Lanka. So it has a fascinating history because both the Dutch and the Portuguese realised controlling it was a strategic advantage during their periods of colonisation. I'm here to meet Mr. and Mrs. Pula Kasiyanga, whose family have lived on Delft for generations. During the war, they moved to the mainland and have only very recently considered it safe to return. Thank you very much. Yeah. Hi, Gia. Nice to meet you. So, I'm going to cook up a homecoming feast. Got some great mud crabs here. If you're at home and you have a freezer, put them in the freezer. But one of the things that you'll find with a crab is that if you hurt it when you try and kill it, what will happen is he'll drop his claws from the tip of the tail, aiming to get a hole all the way through the crab, right to the end of the shell, and it should die instantly. Cut it a little bit and then twist the meat out to get rid of all the insides from the crab. Shake it, gone. Never wash it, never add water to it. And then basically cut it into 3 segments between the legs. Now I'm getting some help from the ladies of the house. We're cooking up a curried mud crab, Delft style. Get this pan on. I don't want to make any mistakes in front of your grandmother. Firstly, coconut, cumin, black pepper. That's roasted to start off with, and that's going to be made into a paste.
Some oil.
Oil.
Enough.
Right. Yes, chef. She's liking this. Popping the mustard seeds is next. So all the aromatics, basically, garlic, onion, chilli, mustard seed, fennel seed. So just adding curry leaves as well. Flavour, but also good for digestion, right? Yeah, curry leaves are very good. Now the crab. It's going to be such a nice curry. Lots of salt. And it's really coarse rock salt. Adding some water now. I was getting a little bit worried there, but that's going to slow it down. And now the flame's being brought down just to ash so that it's like a simmer, I guess. Takes about, 8 to 10 minutes to cook this through. Always let the steam pop out first. Whoa. See these little beads here of protein, and there's another one there. Pretty much when that comes out, you know that the crab, the meat inside, is now perfectly cooked. Look at that. Yum. And now, coconut cream. The Jaffna chili powder. Now, this is actually a curry powder, so it has other spices in it too. Now, I don't know how hot this is. Very hot?
This
Not hot. And now, tamarind water. All the seeds have been taken out, squeezed up, made into a pulp. It's just a nice souring agent. Now, I'll stir it, get all that curry powder through. That mix that I talked about before, the coconut, the black pepper, the roasted cumin, has also had garlic. Garlic added to it, lots of garlic. And that's ready now. Okay. Oh, yeah. This paste is really good. Such a nice smell and flavour. Last ingredient is moringa leaves, sprinkled with love over the top. That's a dish that has everything. Flavour, opulence, colour, and it's damn tasty. Taste time. Well, that's it. The end of my Sri Lankan adventure. Tomorrow, I fly home to Australia. I can't wait to see my wife and kids, and I can't wait to try out all these new recipes in my restaurant.